Hello everyone, I'm Stefano Marceau, the host of the Nano Cruising Podcast, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever else you look for podcasts. Today we continue the conversation with John Harris of CLC Boats. He's got a lot of great knowledge to impart. You may have noticed a new theme song. I had some fun with AI, generated a song, lyrics, everything. The full song will be available right at the end of the podcast. It's actually kind of catchy. Or maybe it's me. I've been listening to it too much while I was editing. Okay, let's get on with the show. What about other Lunatics designs you have? Fringe. I think, some of my favorites I can say. Autumn Leaves is another one.
Yeah, Fringy. All right. Yeah. So Autumn Leaves is a 18 and a half foot canoe yawl.
Right.
I think that boat can only be understood if you understand what a canoe yawl is. A canoe yawl is like a 125-year-old cruising concept originating in England. And it's, capable small boats that the middle class can afford and that you can go have adventures in. They're not necessarily canoes and not necessarily yawls, but that's what it is. And, it was the result of me going on a group cruise, with this, local outfit, the Shallow Water Sailors.
Okay.
They have 2 cruises a year on the Chesapeake.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic. I mean, they're just great bunch of people.
Right.
Just a wonderful collection of interesting boats to be a part of. And, the thing I noticed was how many of them were single-handers.
Yeah,
including me,
all the groups I go in, it's pretty much like that. Yes.
Right. So I'm like, well, gee, if you delete a lot of the capability for the second person sleeping aboard, then you can have a lot more boat for your money kind of thing. So I came up with the single-hander, and that's really you can day sail 2 people in the Autumn Leaves cockpit. Even that's not great, but it really only sleeps 1. And so it ended up being a successful design in terms of its performance and design brief and all that. But I also learned that in order to get permission from the family to build a boat like that, you better have the ability to take the family with you at least once a year. So, right. I after years of observing that all of these boats that could seat 4 and sleep 6, whatever, we're always occupied by one person. Well, there's a reason. It's because you're never going to get it past the family committee. I'm the dad. I'm going to build a boat that's a single-hander just for me. This falls flat at the dinner table. So don't ask me how I know.
Right.
But that's a good number of those are being built. So
yes.
That was fun. It's an oddball. I probably should have made like a 21-foot version that was for 2. But I didn't set out to make any money, and it's a good thing because it really hasn't. So
yeah, you've got so many of those designs. It's like, I'll do it. I don't care if there's no market. I'm just doing it because this is what I drew. Like you said, instead of
So I came up in the 80s, I was just agog with all of those designers who published books.
Right.
So William Ack and John Ack, and of course L. Francis Herreshoff. The list goes on. But above all, Phil Bolger, my hero. And he filled his books and his magazine articles, with these whimsical, sometimes insane, sometimes weird, but always interesting boats. And again, they always had a reason. They weren't weird for the sake of being weird. Never would Bolger have done such a thing. They were different because I think people sailing small boats, and I'm kind of like from trailer sailor size on down, are susceptible to all of the fads. They want their pocket cruiser to look like if it's the 80s, they want it to look like a IOR quarter tonner or something like that. So it's got the little trunk cabin. with side decks. And so you can't sit upright down below,
Right.
because it's got side decks. So
Yeah.
there's no place to sit. You can lay down, that's about it. And so that's a bug as far as I'm concerned. And so people like Bolger were approaching the idea of a trailerable sailboat by kind of rejecting all of the common knowledge approaches and saying, all right, let's just start with a clean sheet and say, what do people need? All right, trailable first. All right, it's going to be shallow and light and, narrow enough to drive on the highway and all of these things. It needs to have a dry place to sleep, and that can be harder to arrange than you think. And also it helps for that to be comfortable. I've always said that that a comfortable enclosed cabin is an important safety feature because you're more likely to sit out that northeaster gale at anchor reading a book, than, oh gosh, I'm cold and wet. I guess I'm going to just try this crossing because I'm tired and I want to get back to the house or get back to the trailers. So that, that's important. I mean, so you just kind of, when you start fixing all of those things that you were going to find in I love all these little boats. I don't want to cast this for the Compact 16, for example. So, it's got a ballast keel, which is, presents challenges of various kinds. It's shallow though, so the boat doesn't sail all that great. So it's kind of like the worst of all worlds. You have a ballast keel, but it's not doing all that much for you. So that would have been pretty great with a drop keel, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so
right.
Yeah, and then the cabin in that thing is really not ergonomic at all. I mean, I don't know.
It's massive, but yeah.
Yeah, where do you sit? And that's I had a competitor to that one that I did some extensive cruising in, and I would come home from a week in that boat and have 3 weeks of back pain. There's no place, there's no place to sit. So, so what is the point is that I was really inspired by all of the interesting design approaches and also by the idea of let's try something new once in a while. If we just keep making everything look like a Lightning, or keep making everything look like a miniaturized cruiser racer, then I don't think you're going to attract a lot of interest into our sport. So I think that all of the favorite things that I've done at Chesapeake Lightcraft have been kind of these unusual projects like proas and outriggers and real oddballs like the nesting expedition dinghy, things like that. That's kind of been my favorite part of the job. And those exist because I did all this other stuff to make sure that Chesapeake Lightcraft could function basically as a factory.
Right.
Now, not wood, by the time folks listen to this, who knows? Because Chesapeake Lightcraft is a retail company, and you never know when the economy is just going to give up on that kind of thing. But anyway, at least I had some fun along the way.
I've got some questions. I know you've worked on a double outrigger canoe with Tula's Endless, right? People are asking.
Oh, sure. Yeah, right.
Tell us about that. And some people are asking, will there be plans?
What a fun boat. Golly. So, Billy came to us and he wanted, he pretty much knew exactly what he wanted. He wanted an outrigger sailing canoe, and he sent me a photo of some Hawaiian double outriggers.
Oh, wow.
And that's where it started. I'm like, yeah, I can get into this. So they're Billy and Sierra are YouTubers. Very popular channel. They do some really cool stuff, but they wanted to have a small boat that they could also go on adventures on. And So this is about, I guess it was 20 feet long. Basically a kayak. The center hull, the canoe is too narrow to actually,
Right.
to actually work without outriggers.
Without outriggers, right.
Yeah. So it's strip planked. Interesting project. I did write about that. And, there's a couple of reasons there aren't plans yet. There will be.
Okay. Good.
One of them was that we've been too bloody busy.
Right.
And that I hear this a lot. They're like, well, wait, didn't you draw the plans first? So the plans must be available, right? By definition, the boat's launched, so there must be plans. Like, well, no, that's not really actually how it works. There's digital data for cutting a mold for it. That's about it. And then, I did some layout drawings, which sort of the second part of that story is like some of those drawings didn't get followed and the boat had some problems. And they were fixable, but it takes time and money to fix things like that. And we haven't done it. So, this is all in my blog. I wrote that. There was a blunder in the shop, not at the drawing board, but it ended up being a hassle. And so, I was just last night I was talking to somebody about, why products get developed or don't get developed. And they're always like, I think they assume that there are focus groups involved and that there was a lot of data was processed and and that a tremendous amount of thought went into whether to put it in production or not. And most of the time it's it's much more pedestrian. It's just like, well, that was a great boat. It's very cool. The only thing that didn't work, by the way, was the Mirage drive.
Right.
And this is something that I was a dummy about. I should have seen this coming, but we had done Mirage drive boats before that were very successful, but I had never noticed a common feature of all successful Hobie Mirage drive boats, and that is that they're very shallow. The hulls are shallow. That thing was designed to fit in a sit on top kayak, and they're very shallow.
Okay.
They have 4 inches of freeboard or whatever like that. So, that canoe, in order to be an expedition canoe, have reserve buoyancy, have the space inside for cruising gear, it's very deep. And so the upshot was that the Hobie Mirage drive ended up about at the waterline level. So, the boat was down flooding through the Mirage drive.
Oh my God.
Trunk.
Right.
This isn't good.
No.
So, we ended up kind of with a hack. I mean, we ended up having to create imagine a kayak cockpit cover, or rather a kayak spray skirt for the Mirage drive, and that worked. That worked, but it was inelegant. So,
Right.
I think when that thing does eventually appear, it will be without the Mirage drive.
The Mirage drive.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just fine because it paddles extremely well. You paddle that boat all day. So,
Nice.
that was a lot of fun. And that's just, that was a fun project. I'm not sure that I had a profit motive exactly. I know that we would sell plans for that, when I get them to the finish line.
Right.
It really, it's just, we just haven't done it. That's all there is to it.
That's all right.
We don't have really deep resources, and I don't plan that carefully.
Another one someone asked me is the Surge Coastal Roar. Kind of neat. Where did the idea come from? What inspired it? And the development and testing process for that boat. And again, people wonder when the plans will be available.
The Surge Coastal Rower.
I have somebody that wants to build one. So
yeah, well, thank goodness. So that's a live project, and that's we've put a huge amount of resources into that. That is going to happen, and fairly soon, as we speak, here in December 2025. I'm very lucky at Chesapeake Lightcraft to be surrounded by talented people. It's the only reason that place works. There's a bunch of people who are passionate about small boats, just like I am.
Yeah.
They hate some of my boats. I hate some of their boats. And this is why it works, because you need people with all kinds of different interests who are passionate and intense and And like some of us aren't even on speaking terms, but we're all working to make CLC work. So it's great. But not in that category. We had our longtime sales manager, Nikki Stimson, was literally a professional rower. You don't meet professional rowers very often. So she had been a rowing star in college, and then was a very successful rowing coach for many years after college. I think she may have tired of the super early mornings or something, but to our surprise and delight, she came to work for us. And she simply just knew more about the rowing world than I do. I love rowing. I have, my first boat I built was a rowing shell. I went cruising in a rowing boat I built when I was a teenager, and not a half bad sliding seat rower myself, although out of shape now. I'd never heard of the coastal rower. I mean, I think this is something that like Nikki brought to me and said, "Hey, do you know that this is becoming a thing?" And it's like, no, I did not. I said, and how lucky I am that you noticed this, because that's like right in our wheelhouse. So it's a coastal rower this is a new thing, relatively new. It's an Olympic class now. It will be, I guess, its first Olympic run will be in the next Summer Olympics. And it's a wherry. That's the way to understand it. So you rowing shell, that's like 16 inches wide, right? So, you row it on a flat river. Coastal rowers are designed to operate in waves. And in fact, the way a lot of coastal rowing regattas work is that it's a Le Mans start on the beach. The boats have to be on the beach, and then you launch through the surf, row out and around a mark, and then back through the surf to the beach. Awesome, right? Cool, I mean, this is like really, really fun
this
stuff.
This is real stuff.
I was immediately just really taken by this, and we'd never designed one. And so like, that's problem number one. And problem number two is that this is essentially a one design class, and there's class rules for the shape of the boat.
Right. So
there's not
a lot of space for,
right. So that was hard.
Yeah.
You
have to confirm their class.
Because as long as if we're going to make somebody build one of these themselves, we ought to make it so that it measures in, and they can go take it to a regatta and row it in a coastal rower competition. So it took us, like, depending on how you count, 3 or 4 prototypes. There was one that I did that didn't work at all. And then a couple of others that worked better. And I guess my colleague Jay Hockenberry is largely responsible for the one that's going into production here fairly soon. So so it's done. It's been out. We're going to get some video of it soon. Right now, we're doing the thing that takes up 95% of the time and money of any new boat that emerges from Chesapeake Lakecraft, and that is the assembly manual.
Right.
We can,
that's what stops all your.
It's that's like the speed of light. It's nature's way of regulating exactly how fast outfits like Chesapeake Lakecraft can turn out new designs. And it really is like, we can design a boat in the morning and cut it in the afternoon on the CNC machine, right. and then the next day stitch it up. That's how design can happen that fast. And sometimes it does. Right. But if you want people to actually, just as I said at the beginning, I need people to finish them. I need them to look good, right. And I need them to have had a good time. Right. And not just be a miserable forced march from start to finish, in order to actually sell enough of them to amortize the development costs. Right. So that's, this is a project that is costing into the 6 figures. So maybe we'll sell some, maybe we won't. If I could predict this, I'd be a rich guy, but instead, I work at Chesapeake like that.
Yeah, but you do balance that. You do balance, okay, this is my napkin. Okay, that's just for me. And this one, I think there's a market for it. So
yeah. I mean, and if you'd asked me 30 years ago, like, what do you want to get out of this? Because oh, but Harris, you're about to work 80 hours a week for 15 years, the first 15 years. So,
Right.
And what's in it for you is exactly what you wanted, which is that I got to go play in cool, fun, small boats.
Nice.
I got to meet a lot of my heroes. That's been one of the greatest parts of just being around is like going out to eat with Russell Brown or Sam Devlin or,
Wow.
I got to meet Phil Bolger. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm still like that was in 2008 and I'm still like dazzled by that experience. He didn't know who I was. I
know the feeling, just me being
I mean,
talking to you and people like that.
Oh, stop. Nothing like that. No, I got to meet these. I got to meet Dick Newick. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And like, he sent me letters. Like, he's like, I looked at this design of yours. It's going to break here. And I'm like,
wow.
Well, actually, Mr. Newick, no, I thought there's some engineering involved there. I thought this through. He's like, okay. And it broke there. It's a great way to stay humble, man. I'll tell you what. So getting to do interesting little boats, nano cruisers, as you put it, is definitely made it all worth it. I think.
Nice.
No, I haven't made a dime doing that kind of thing, but that's not the most important.
What innovations and trends excites you right now in this world?
I've said this many times, but I'm going to repeat myself. We are living in a golden age of build your own boat designs and kits as well. But there's never been a time in history when you had such a choice of like there are boats for every possible design scenario, from shanty boats with pedal drives, to, Michael Storer's PD racers and the boats that have evolved from that. That's so great. I mean, I think people look down their nose at what he was doing with those, but now they're everywhere. And, I'm like, yeah, Michael, that is just what we need, just people like trying out boxy boats and then being delighted that they actually like work like crazy. So, that kind of thing. There's all these design tools now, but, I would be at pains to say that like, we could do all that with pencil and paper. You still have to be a designer.
Right.
So like, I guess the most, the simplest thing I could say about that is, CAD lets you design bad boats more quickly.
Right.
That's
very true.
It's a tool in the drawer, but on the CNC machines, there are going to be more and more of those around. So, I think in like 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there'll be a lot more people just going to their local maker space with a set of plans.
Yeah.
We're in the process of trying to figure out how to sell our DXF files for cutting without giving the business away. So, the music industry went through a period of tremendous upheaval because music became free. So, anyway, so
not sure it's even recovered.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to spend $150,000 developing the Coastal Rower, I'm disinclined to give that design away.
Correct.
And, but a lot of people are like, oh, design wants to be free. So good for them. I did see something, I think about a week ago. I think 3D printing might change our lives in the small boat world. I saw someone 3D print like a boat about the size of it was like a lapstrake Whitehall.
Oh, wow. Really?
It was like, it was, substantial. And I couldn't find really anything more about it. I imagine that there are still a lot of challenges in terms of the materials used, the longevity and that kind of thing. But like, holy cow. I mean, just think if
you're right. That's probably the future. Yeah.
If you can 3D print Robert Manry's Tinkerbell, I mean, people are going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So, or Jerry Speace's Yankee Girl,
Yes.
So who knows?
Good point.
Now, I can tell you that AI is not yet ready to design boats. But I've been tracking it. I've got like a little folder about once every.
Did you play with it? You ask AI some questions?
Once every like 6 to 12 months, I'll ask it. I guess my prompt is design me a lap strake canoe yawl. And so like I want to say like 3 years ago, it was something that that looked like a rotten vegetable. And then like a year later, it was a boat at least, and actually it may have even been a yawl. I don't remember. And then, fairly recently, I mean, it was hilariously bad, but like kind of scary how much more closely it's getting. So, there are some, that's going to make, things like doing 3D renderings and stuff like that, right now take a lot of skill, as a CAD draftsman. Right. That's gonna like you can be like render this and make the hull navy blue, and I want you to use C deck pattern number 5 for the non-skid on the deck. So that's kind of those things kind of exist right now.
Right. Good point.
Yeah, you're still gonna need to be a designer in the mix. And
yes, absolutely. What's your toughest customer? Was that you with the Pensativa?
Oh, right. Yeah. I have to be careful about this kind of thing. So Pensativa. So, I ran out of Chesapeake rivers to name boats after, so I started using Jazz Standard. So, that's a famous Claire Fisher, Jazz Standard. Anyway, I have a blog. It's at clcboats.com. And, my hobby is drawing boats.
Yes.
The way some people do crossword puzzles, right. I draw boats while I'm watching TV.
Right.
And like sometimes I get tickled by the boat.
I'd love to see your that I drew. Design book. Right. It's like, wow.
And so I'm like, I'll put this up on a blog. Not the greatest idea. I mean, I can say, this Harris guy, he's a pretty good drawer, but I want plans for that. Where are the plans? And so, every time I put one of those blog posts up, and, I've done drawings. I've done the math. I've done the displacement calculation, done a weight, a weight study, just so what's there is actually, reality. But it's nowhere near something you can build from. That takes months. I mean, right. if they're going to be a really good set of plans, I mean, right. I can run you out a table of offsets or something like that in a couple of days. But otherwise, so I've done that now 3 or 4 or 5 times, and my colleagues hate this because people start calling and emailing and saying, I saw this design called Blue Monk that Paris did. I think the plans, and I'm like, what you see is that's it. There's some nice drawing. That's, and they're like, but I don't understand. Why did you post this? And why did Bob Perry do a review of it in Sailing Magazine if it doesn't exist? And I'm like, that's because I'm dumb. And it's because I'm such a boat nerd that I can't stop drawing, and I just draw and draw. And occasionally these things leak out. And there was one on Facebook just a couple of days ago that I've been very careful not to leak online. And suddenly it was it was on a Facebook page, and it got 700 reactions, and people were asking me, hey, so send me a set of plans. I'm like, about that, that didn't get that far. And the boat in question is an interesting, it is an interesting aside. It was a double-ended hull with a sort of Viking derived lap strake,
pretty large
kind of thing. This is like a 28 footer. It was about 5,000 pounds. It was done for a hilariously complicated design brief. I had to have all of these features that were kind of mutually exclusive, and I don't think it would have actually worked at all. But the client, on the other hand, was deadly serious enough to send us money to create a proposal. I mean, because it took a couple, I'd say a week and a half of 2 of us, Dylan Joss and myself, to create just a proposal for this cruising yawl, double-ended lap strake yawl with cabins 4.5 in a center cockpit. And, so he's like, okay, we're getting close to what I want. What's it going to run me for you guys to finish the drawings? And actually, I'm thinking of hiring you guys to build it too. Chesapeake Lightcraft does build custom boats. We have a side, we have a shop where that's what we do year round. So anyway, and so we went back to Excel and came up with like really what it would actually cost, because we just aren't in a position to do this stuff, and
that scared Adam away. I take it.
Yeah. Well, and it was like $20-something thousand to finish the design.
Right.
And, I think the guy not only was he like scared away, I think he was insulted, because I'm like, well, I can go to Wooden Boat catalog and, plans are like $150, $200. So I'm like, yeah, like, we're not going to make it up on volume with this design, right?
No,
no,
that's right.
And, I think it was going to cost $250,000 to do, and which I think people's jaw hits the floor, but that was 10 years ago. Honestly, I would say a lot more than that now.
Right. So, right. And that's why there's nobody building boats anymore, really. And that's right. I mean, like, like the value of any given 28-foot cruising sailboat is basically the ballast keel as scrap at the moment. Right.
So, like, if you're contemplating having a custom boat built, you really ought to go out and look at the marketplace, because if you can get something that's pretty close, you're going to be paying, like way less than the cost of materials. Like, even, you can pick up astonishingly good cruising sailboat for $5,000 right now. Yeah. You can pick up some things that you could sail across the Atlantic for free if you're willing to, clean out the birds' nests and paint and patch it up a little bit. So, geez. So, I think anybody who's trying to operate in that space as a designer has got to be having a crisis right now. So
it's kind of done right now, really.
I think so. And, I'm watching.
Even the small boat world, building the small boats, we've seen.
It's so expensive.
It's
my gosh. It's so expensive to do. So, we are doing a good bit of custom boat building for people, but it's for boats that you just can't get any other way.
Right.
It's a boat of some kind that you're not going to find it for sale. So that's why. And then the second part is it's someone who has the resources to just have a boat built for them. And that there aren't that many people like that. So, I do think there's a lot of hope for, your kind of boat and my kind of boat, little trailer sailors. And it goes back to what I said about pocket ship, the ability to put a boat like that to bed at no cost.
Right.
Whether it's in your backyard or a friend's backyard, or, somewhere where it's okay to stash a boat. Pocket ship has a mast and a tabernacle, not to make it easy to rig, but because the mast folded horizontally was designed to be the ridgepole of its cover. This may seem trivial, but how many boats get ruined because the tarp over them fills with rainwater?
Right.
Like the first 16 times it happens, the owner goes out and drains the rainwater and it goes back inside. But then it gets distracted and the boat gets ruined, because it fills up with rainwater or whatever. So
I didn't realize that was the design point. That's very interesting.
It absolutely was. Because I thought that boat was just going to sit in my driveway. It ended up becoming something that people were interested in. So now it's, on display, but at CLC. But the original design brief was just, I have to be able to put this thing away. And the nesting expedition dinghy, that's been chattered about a little bit recently. Same thing. That one would go at, the house I had at the time had a garden shed, and it would fit through the door and stand on its end, after it was disassembled, in the garden shed. And I could just it could sit there for 2 years and I'd be like, oh, look, I have an opportunity. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people going more into the small boat and trailer sailing. I've seen the growth. So
yeah, it's for real. There's not enough growth to support a Catalina-sized business, a Hunter-sized business, or really even kind of like Montgomery-size, business. The Sage 17,
right. Yeah, that
which was
beautiful.
Which was
beautiful, expensive boat.
What an amazing little boat. I kind of knew some of those folks tangentially anyway, and I was really rooting for them because nobody had been. It took a lot of courage to go into that space, but the reality was I don't remember what it cost, but I'm sure however much it was, it probably wasn't enough.
Right. There's no market. There's no market at that price point, really.
Right.
And it's not buildable at that price point.
It isn't buildable at that price point. So I don't think that you could even go into business doing something like West White Potters right now.
That's right. They're out.
Because, just you need enough of a shop to turn those things out in enough volume to pay your overhead. And, you need insurance. You need boat builders who know what they're doing. They're not going to work for $12 an hour. They're not going to work for $20 an hour. The Volkswagen dealership in Annapolis charges $75 an hour for repair. And I always tell people that when they're like amazed that CLC's, hourly rate for repair and building is like around $50, $55 an hour. It depends on the project, but they're like, oh, that's an insult. How dare you charge so much? I'm like, man, CLCs, we have a big, pretty big space, and it's $125,000 a year in rent for that.
Oh, wow.
And it's the cheapest rent in Annapolis. Like the city actually told us, don't move because
you're done.
Because you're never going to get, a rate like that.
Right.
So it's expensive, and like the amateur build it yourself thing, offers a way around the cost of production, overhead.
You get the design you want and build it.
Yeah, and you can get something that's very specific to your need.
Different people asking for different needs if you don't find it in your catalog. And you do, I think, the teaching, you still have the school where people come in and build and so on, which is great too, right? So
that's been a huge part of our business since I think 1994 was the first time we did come build your own boat in a class.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's great. You leave
we've
with the boat that's pretty much almost done, right? So.
Oh no, we leave with a boat that's assembled. I have to be very careful to walk back that kind of talk.
Sorry,
because
physically in 3D, basically,
we get the boat assembled in a week, and then you've got to go home and do your sanding. So
that's right.
So I'd be very careful. But on the other hand, like a lot of those people tell us they come and take one of our 5.5 a day, build your own kayak, build your own dory, whatever it is classes. They said, you know what? I could order your kit. I could build this in my garage, but I know I won't.
Right.
Like I would start it and not finish it. Like come take your class. It forces me to do it in 5.5 days. And, I will be pretty close to the finish line.
That's right.
That's one reason to do it. And, a lot of times folks don't have, a place to build a boat. So,
right.
That's been very successful.
That's a great side.
It's difficult. If it wasn't hard, then like everybody would be doing it. But, it takes a lot of resources to, everything from the space to the outfitting of the space. I mean, look, you got to have 8 dust collecting sanders, and
yes.
you got to have, a bulk epoxy dispenser. Those are $500, So anyway, it took us a long time to figure that out. But between the Wooden Boat School and some of our partners on the West Coast, it's been
nice.
Good way to get boats launched.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else you want to impart to your listeners? You'd like to
get out in your boat, whatever you have.
Yeah.
Don't wait. Days spent sailing are not subtracted from your life.
Correct.
Get out on the water. Go out there now. If you've got a Grumman aluminum canoe, go throw a backpack in it and find a park someplace. Just get out and get outside and get in a boat. And hey, this is the best buyer's market for small boats in all time. So you can afford to find exactly what you want. And
Absolutely.
And also, like I'm in the build your own boat business. So many people do that, not because it's expedient, but for the journey itself.
For the journey, that's right.
Building a boat, like however many boats later, I love building boats. I could get up from this chair and go start building a boat right now. I'd love to be doing that right now. So that's, build your own boat. It's not just because you can get exactly the boat you want. It's because that is extremely fulfilling. And it's just an awful lot of fun. And, have fun with it.
Absolutely.
Don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
build something small,
Start small. Exactly.
So that you don't end up with the proverbial white elephant.
That's right.
It seems like, I as a historian of build your own boat projects, it was like from about the 1930s through like the 1960s. I don't think any boating magazine went to press in any given month without at least a couple of "you can build your own boat" kind of articles in them. Like, so you can build a Tahiti ketch and drop out
3 pages of it, and that's the
plan. Yeah. Here are 3 pages for how to build a Rosinante. And so I always wondered, like, I wonder how many of those actually got. I think it's kind of a trope that, people back then, they were more crafty and had better skills and were more likely to do that. I don't think that's true at all. I've seen no evidence that that's actually true, that people were actually more crafty. More people actually knew how to do woodworking in 1955 compared to 2025. They didn't have YouTube in 1955.
That's right.
There weren't nearly as many books then either. So I think there were huge number of white elephants, people taking on projects that were too ambitious. It sold magazines, though.
Well, thank you, John. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Thanks for your patience. It's been great fun, and it's great meeting someone who is as odd as I am about small.
We're a minority, but because of the internet, we connect with each other, and there's groups everywhere. I know you have a group in the Chesapeake. We have a group up there.
Yeah, we found each other. We're not alone.
So.
Someone else who's read Tinkerbell, not just me. Everybody on this podcast had to have read Tinkerbell. And if you haven't, you're crazy. And go get a copy right now.
Thanks for listening to the No Cruising Podcast. I hope today's conversation gave you something useful and inspiring to carry into your own adventures on the water. If you'd like to stay connected, you can join our mailing list. We also have a lively Nano Cruising Facebook group. It's growing by leaps and bounds where you can ask questions, share your innovations, and get all kinds of ideas. If you like this show, the best way to support us is share with your friends, review it, give us a 5-star rating. That's always greatly appreciated. And for those that want to support us a little further, we do have a Patreon. Feel free to check it out and join us if needed. A shout out to our newest member, Pianoforte, for supporting us. Thank you very much. Until next time, get out there, explore, and as always, seize your own adventure.
No inches humming, no engine roar, just a little boat and an open shore. Canvas snapping, the kettle's on. World feels big when the boat feels small. We don't need much, just wind and tide, a chart, a compass, and time to ride. Nano cruising, small boats, big seas, long Small boats, big seas, real adventure. No guarantees. If you've dreamed it, if you dare, there's a